Hey guys, I just want to do a quick Pokemon X and Y first impressions video. I downloaded the game at midnight, well, rather like 10 past midnight, because that's the point where which the eShop actually updated. I hit download later and went to sleep, and in the today when I was able to get to it, I started playing it. I have not even entered my spoiler policy for this. Pretty much like, I mean, if you're watching this and you care that much about being knowing absolutely nothing about the game and you haven't played it yet, you probably just shouldn't watch this video. It's probably pretty much my spoiler policy as far as what I'll say, as far as spoiler warnings. Anyway, my first impressions. I have not even entered Sandalwood Forest yet. I'm just left the second town pretty much. Um, the presentation, everything's great. Like I said, I have not been following the news and stuff like that about it or the impressions, so I was very surprised to see that a lot of the game is not in stereoscopic 3D at all, which is kind of surprising to me considering the first trailer placed such an emphasis on, the 3D Pokemon game. Well, obviously, it's polygonal 3D more so than, more so than like Generation, 5 or 4 on the DS. But even in sort of full polygonal 3D, it's not so much you know 3D as it's really not that different from the top down or well, not even Gen 5 even wasn't really even strictly top down, but it's really in the battles and in certain scenes in certain areas you see more of a difference. What I will say, my first impressions pretty much is, well, obviously I like it so far. My team so far is, looking at straight from the game because I'm not familiar with all these Pokemon yet. I have a Scatterbug named Snowden after the Snowden Mountain Railway, and and Mount Snowden, of course. But no, he's level 5. I want to get him all to like level like 7 or 8 before I actually go into the forest because the trainers look like they're going to be like around there. I have okay, and I caught a Bunnelby, whatever its name is. I caught a Bunnelby and named it Hazel. Uh, yeah, I'm going to hell. If anyone actually knows what that's in reference to. I caught a Caterpie named Nelly. I actually named Nelly after a. I had a caterpillar when I was like 5 or 6 that I raised and into till it became a. I almost said evolved into a butterfly. It actually made a chrysalis and became a butterfly, and I let it go, and I named it Nelly back then. So and I haven't really thought about that caterpillar in like 20 years, but I have a. Excuse me, I'm not used to the interface yet, so I have to look for the species name because I know what I nicknamed them, not what I actually named them. I have a fletchling named Hastings. I chose Froggy, Froakie, of course. I named him Mossy because of something related to moss in my life that I'd rather not deal with. And I have a second fletchling that I named Hastinga because one of my impressions of the interface is a lot better. Like for instance, there's an actual heal option when you're dealing with Pokemon. When you're in the item section, you could see all your Pokemon and use the items directly on them, kind of. And I wanted them to put a heal option in the Pokemon interface for quite a while. I'm glad they finally did that. I'm very disappointed that you can no longer see the time on the touchscreen when you're in battle. Like in Pokemon Black and White and Black 2 and White 2, you could always see the time on the touchscreen, whether you were in battle or in the overworld. And this game, they took that away. I'm very displeased with that. When you're on a portable system where you're very likely to be playing this on the go while you're waiting for something or have a train to catch or an appointment to get to, you want to be able to see the time. It's extremely convenient, and I'm sorry that they took this away from here. It's like for everything that they added to the interface, they always seem to take stuff away when they come out with new Pokemon games. I think that's because different teams are working on each of them, so they each have different ideas and different priorities for their interface. What I will say is that I'm also pissed that they did not make They did, starting from Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Advance, and then for Gen 3 and Gen 4, you could use the L button to substitute for A, so you could basically play the game with one hand. So you could like hold the drink in the other hand or whatever. It's a very convenient feature, and they took that away in Gen 5, and it's not back in Gen 6 either. It's such a simple thing to put in. I don't know why they didn't do it. The interface generally, um, I guess I could give my impressions of the first two towns. Uh, I have the route. Hold on, let me look at my town map so I get the names of these places correctly. Um, and this is the first time I've actually seen the in-game map of Kalos with all the routes marked on it, and like it looks way bigger than Unova, like just in terms of the scale of it, well, the scope of like just all the different routes and all the different towns. But I think that psychologically for me might have something to do with the fact that Unova I know intimately to be based on New York and New Jersey. I did location tour videos where I actually went to different places in New York uh, that were inspired places in the Unova region. And I actually Junichi Suda retweeted one of the photos I took doing that, which was pretty cool. But yeah, like Unova is based on New York and New Jersey, whereas Kalos is based on the whole of the country of France. So in my head, I know like the scale is going to be a lot bigger. But let's see. When I went from Vaniville Town to Aquacord Town, that route in between them, I guess it's Route One. The theme for Route One, like walking out into that route for the first time, was like really cool because the first time you really get to see that non sort of top down sort of view, like you're really playing an actual polygonal 3D game. And but and they brought the theme for Route One uses the parts of the Skyro Bridge motif in it, which I thought was really cool because the Skyro Bridge is one of my favorite parts of Pokemon of Unova. One of my favorite moments in Pokemon is really walking on that bridge for the first time. And the music is so, you know, you know, uh, optimistic and upbeat and everything. But so they used part of the Skyro Bridge theme for the theme for Route One. But what I will complain about is that the Route One was way too short. Um, I think for just for the effect of it, I think it would have made Route Two maybe 2 or 3 times as long because it's almost a It's to the point where excuse me, I'm not familiar with these towns yet, so I'm reading them off the map. It's to the point where Aquacord Town and Vaniville Town might as well literally be the same town, because the I know a lot in a lot of Pokemon games, like in Hoenn, for instance, there are routes that are like only a few feet long. On screen, it's like a almost negligible route between what are supposed to be totally different cities, and that kind of works when you're in a top-down sort of game, when you're in a top-down 2D game. But when you're in a 3D sort of space, it feels, I guess it feels kind of fakeish or like, and there's no reason I see why they couldn't have made that route a little longer, so you feel like you're actually sort of traveling a distance a bit. But it's being as there's no Pokemon Center in Aquacord Town, and I'm grinding my Pokemon before I go into a Santaloon Forest. Being able to run back to Vaniville Town to talk to your mother in the game, that's pretty convenient that the route is short, and maybe that's why they chose to do it that way. It's nice that you have the option. Hey, I actually got to choose a kind of brown, tannish, not quite ethnic, but kind of maybe not white skin tone character. I don't know how much you'll be able to customize that. I'll see that as I go along. How deep the character customization goes, because I know that's the thing in this game, that you can customize your character's outfits or whatever. Because if that's as dark a skin tone as you could choose, that's you know Game Freak. It seems like they really want to have an emphasis on sort of international. You know, have taken a more worldly view, sort of acknowledging that they're Pokemon fans from all over the world. Hence a worldwide release. Hence you could choose a few different skin tones at least at the beginning, but they Game Freak really opened a can of worms for themselves if they have different skin tones, but they're just sort of basically skin tones that like sort of a that like a really sort of tan like white person or a Japanese person might have. Because the characters in Pokemon are generally like the main characters are kind of sort of ambiguously like so that they could be light skinned Asian people or like European Caucasians. Uh, but it's nice to see them kind of try. It's kind of like maybe, I mean, if you can't choose a skin tone darker than what you could choose at the beginning, and by the way, when I'm asking questions or hypothetical, I really don't want the answers. I'll learn that as I go along. But it's kind of like in the old stop motion animated series. I think the Lutheran Church put it out. David and Goliath. Yeah, it's kind of like when they introduced a black friend for Davy, and they didn't actually make a black person puppet for him at first. They literally just took a white character and painted his like skin dark, so he didn't like actually have like, you know, he didn't look like a black person. He just looked like a white person painted black. But at least they were trying to introduce, people of different ethnic backgrounds into the show. So it's like sort of the effort that counted. But with this, if it's really as dark as you can go, it's kind of disappointing. And I'd really just rather just sort of them not have bothered, and just you could just go with your generic sort of white, light skinned sort of character. And because it's like I don't mind playing as, but if you're gonna have a role playing game and have customizable characters, and you can only customize them at a certain parameter, it's kind of like, why is that? That's about pretty much everything I have to say about the game at this point. I'm not trying to burn through this game. This is sort of playing this game is going to be the last thing I do with my spare time. I'm really stretching it, just making this one video about it. So that's it for now, and thanks for watching, and